Welcome to the SeriesPod podcast. I'm V.
And I'm Andrew. Get your favourite beverage ready and join our book club. Welcome back, everybody. Pod Series podcast time. And we're doing In Death by J.D.Robb. And V has a fun fact for you all.
I do. Welcome back to our podcast. It's so lovely to see you here. We've missed you all week.
We have.
And I'm coming to you with a fun fact of the day about reading. Apparently, if you read 20 minutes a day, it will turn out that you'll read on average around 1,800,000 words per year.
That's a lot.
So you know those shitty relatives that do Christmas cards and then they put what they achieved that year and make you feel terrible about themselves? Now you can make them feel terrible by putting that fact that you've read a lot of...
I read 1 million and whatever words a year.
Yes, that you've read 2 million words this year.
No, that's cool.
Yeah, 20 minutes a day.
20 minutes a day, though. I have a reading goal, and it is pathetic. I don't know how to check it, but it is bad. I flip one page, and it's like, you've done your reading goal of the day. I'm like, it was one page. I don't even know how you check it, but whatever. Oh, congrats. You've read 2 days in a row.
Congratulations, Andrew.
Thanks.
We're all very proud of you.
I know. We should be.
Today we're starting our episode with chapter 4. In our last episode we got to Eve and Roarke setting up a sort of a date-ish. Well, it's not a date in the sense of...
It wasn't a date to her. I think to him it was like, he's being weird. That's all I could yeah.
He's being weird. He really likes her and he set up this meeting where she would come in, visit him at his house and see his gun collection.
Yeah.
And we start this chapter by her sitting in her office, logging all of the information into her computer. Now, what I found quite cool is that the computer can produce a percentage of how compatible all the
theories kind of like fit together.
Yeah, so you put in all of your facts.
Yeah.
And then the computer generates the percentage of how possible it is for that person to be a killer. Eve proceeds with logging in everything she knows about Roarke, and that in her mind he's the main suspect, that he's intelligent, confident, and self-indulgent. The only thing that she can't pinpoint in her mind as of yet is the motive. So she doesn't have a set motive for why he would do that.
Yeah.
But the computer generates, when she adds the self-indulgent as a motive, the computer generates that Roarke has 82.6%
probability of killing her. Because I was just reading again. So he has means. That was the theoretical motive. An opportunity, because he owned the building that she slept in. The means, he has a whole gun collection. And then motive, she's just testing theories kind of thing.
Yeah.
She's going through what she thinks. I mean, from the outside, if you look at Roarke, he definitely seems self-indulgent. With that much money and power, could literally do anything you like, including murder.
I think that as of yet, just self-indulgence doesn't quite fit into, because they only met once. So there's quite a bit of unknown.
Yeah. I suppose she has to test out different theories as well.
Yes.
Although she didn't. She just kind of ran with that. You'd hope.
Well, yeah. I think Eve, in the later books, I think we will, and even in this book, we'll discover that Eve is she trusts her sort of gut feeling. So she goes along with whatever it may be that she feels like a thing, and then that leads her into figuring the crimes out. Now, when you originally recommended me the series, you said that you read a couple of books in the series and that one character really reminded you of the two of us.
Yeah.
Now, I think it's Mavis.
You guessed it? Yeah, it is, yeah. Mavis, right. There's no other way to describe her. She's basically the embodiment of us two.
Yes. So we meet Mavis when she gets home, when Eve gets home. Mavis comes into her apartment. Mavis is a very outgoing person.
That's one way to say that, yeah.
Yeah, right. They've met, Mavis met 8 years ago when Eve busted Mavis for petty theft.
And now she's one of her closest friends. I don't know if that says much about Eve's morals, though. Like, she seems so unwavering, but then how can she be friends with a criminal?
I don't know. I think also, well, it was petty theft. And also, Mavis...
Is petty theft alright?
Well, no. But I'm saying, on the spectrum, on Eve's spectrum of what a person can do, I think petty theft is...
It's not acceptable, but it's not like murder.
Yeah, I think in her job, petty theft doesn't seem as...
Import. Or bad, yeah, I suppose. She is a homicide detective, isn't she?
Yeah, she is. Avis comes in all decked out, looking pretty.
Yeah, I mean, she's got like emerald tipped fingers, like her nails are beautiful, you know, she's got obviously a very nice outfit on. She was ready to go out, she was ready to go clubbing. And Eve was not.
Yeah, Eve did not. And it turns out that Eve forgot about their plans, which was dinner, dancing, and debauchery.
Fun.
Which I love Mavis.
Yeah, Mavis is the one. And Mavis gets better as you go on as well.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And we will get into that when Eve visits Mavis at Mavis's work. I have a question.
Okay.
Which will also continue throughout the books. The coat that Eve was wearing at the funeral was actually Mavis. She borrowed it. And then Mavis points out that Eve lost her button on the suit. We don't know where the button gone.
No, the button's gone missing. And Eve didn't even notice that the button was gone. She knew that it was loose, but she's lost it.
Oh, poor button.
Very reckless, very careless.
I mean, it can happen to anyone.
Can it though? Really? You're not going to notice the whole day?
Well...
Brr, I'm cold, let me button it up. Oh, wait.
Yeah, fair enough, okay. So Eve is not feeling it. I mean, she really did try and sort of get in the mood, and she's like, okay, Mavis, I'm gonna go change, just give me a few moments. But Mavis, being the best friend that she is, she can read a room. That's what I like about Mavis. Mavis really knows how to read a room. And being a good friend, she was like, no, it's okay. We're going to stay in. We're going to order Chinese.
That is a good friend.
Yes. And we're just going to have a fun time eating Chinese.
Yeah. Just hanging out, just having like a normal friend.
Yeah, just a normal one.
So they order Chinese, and then a delivery boy turns up. And Mavis plays with him. Or Mavis. I don't really know how do you pronounce her name. Is it Mavis or Mavis?
Well, I say Mavis.
I'll probably switch between the two. Pre-warning, listeners. So yeah, she kind of just plays with him, she flirts with him a lot, and Eve has to remind her to leave the kid alone because he looks terrified, stunned by her beauty, but terrified. Shame, poor kid. And that's when she gets the gift, and it is exactly what we would hope and pray to get, which is a nice box of coffee. She doesn't like coffee, and it's real coffee. And Mavis was obviously like disgusted. She thought, who with that much wealth is just going to send coffee? And obviously to Eve it's like a godsend. It's beauty. It is worth more than any other gift.
Absolutely. And I like how when Mavis finds out that it's from Roarke, she starts asking so many questions.
Yeah, she wants to know.
Eve brilliantly says with a straight face that yes, Mavis, I had a secret relationship, bore him a son who is being raised by monks on the dark side of the moon. And Mavis bought it until Eve had to remind her to get a grip. And that it was for the case.
Yeah. It was the straight face that she said it with. And you can just imagine sitting there like, yes, I've had a son and then he's being raised by monks.
And Mavis just lapped it up. Like it was the real thing.
She wanted to believe that so badly. But I think Mavis tried to get with Roarke, but she couldn't, if I remember correctly.
Really?
I think she fancies the hell out of him.
I mean, Mavis fancies the hell out of many people. I mean, before they got the package, Eve even asked Mavis about how it was seeing the dentist. And Mavis was like, oh no, I had to break up with him. And Eve asked why, and she said he wanted to get married. To which Eve also responded, the bastard!
No marriage for Mavis. Plenty of men for Mavis. Go her. I applaud that. We applaud that. So following that...
So I think the next is back in her office. Finney meets her in her office saying that Rockman's alibi checks out, that he was in Washington, late working with a senator. And then he also said that he can't hack into Roarke's security. So now we know that Roarke is very good with security and technology.
Yeah.
Because even our top guy can't hack it.
Yeah, we know that he's got impenetrable security. And that's not to say anything on Feeney's skills. Like, he's basically a god of security. So if he can't get into Roarke, like...
Oh yeah, no, if you need something hacked or something to do with technology, you go to Feeney and he does it.
Yeah, so when he say he can't, it's like, it's a big thing. He can't do it? Okay, why?
Then, I don't know why. I haven't known that Roarke owns Eve apartment complex, but I think we already know that.
I think once she got the gift, she did look it up. Because she was like, how does he know where I live? But that's creepy. Like, that's weird. Like, so many things he does, like, points he's not the killer, and then he does other shit, and you're like, he is the killer. He must be the killer.
And then we have a new victim. A call came in with a new victim.
Yes, it did. But did you read the, like, working, like, the story up to that? It was...
Yeah, so we leave Eve with her getting the call about the new victim. And then we transfer ourselves back to the actual victim. So what happened before she got killed. Now, our victim is Lola Starr, who is 18, just turned 18. She wanted to be a licensed companion for like ever. So as soon as she turned 18 and got legal, she got her license.
That bit was a bit weird though, don't you think? Like, she's always known she wanted to be a licensed companion. Since what age? Because at 8, I wanted to be a fireman. From 8, she wanted to be a licensed companion, yeah?
Well, I don't think she wanted to be a licensed companion from the age of 8. But I do accept the fact that there are those kinds of personalities. I'm trying to be very politically correct here.
That was a nice way of saying that.
There are people like that who... A sugar baby.
I mean, you can make good money from it, to be fair. A sugar baby, yeah.
I mean, yeah, you make good money with it, but there are those people who that's what they want. And that was Lola Starr. She thought that was a way to go.
I mean, she was clearly very beautiful, and she knew that with that she could make money. So
yeah, she described herself as a sexy elf.
Mm-hmm. She did, and she was saving up to get all these different features, like green emerald eyes. I think she had pointy ears as well, kind of.
Yeah, she made her ears a bit pointy, so she did look like an elf. So she did have this sort of I don't know why I'm thinking of a hobbit. Hobbits don't have... Oh no, hobbits have elves in it. The Hobbit, they have elves. That was a weird transition.
Yeah, but even though she was going for an elf look, she noticed that paedophilia was like strongly becoming her specialty. Did you read that?
Yeah, because of how
young she was, yeah.
Yeah, because of how young she was and how young she looked.
But then wasn't Sharon de Blas also quite young? I remember her being she wasn't like old, but she was like...
She wasn't old, but she wasn't 18 anymore. So I think she was also in her early 30s probably. So I don't think she's very... Well, yeah, she's just mid-20s, late 20s sort of. But yeah, Lola was very ambitious, so she really dreamed about this luxurious life that she would get through this profession.
Yeah. She'd start off small, work her way up to living in a mansion, going to the best hotels.
Yes, so at the moment she was living in a
dump. That's the easiest way to describe it.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, it's a dump. So there is not like Sharon de Blas where she had security, soundproof walls, nothing like that.
Yeah, but Sharon de Blas came from money, whereas Lola didn't.
Yeah, Lola is starting from the bottom and dreaming of luxury. And she books a new client who is scheduled for the evening. She doesn't know anything about him apart from that he asked her to call him daddy. And then she also points out that she didn't mind because she imagined he was the right age to be her dad.
So that's something else we know about him. But how old would her dad be? If you had to ballpark it, what are you thinking? Like, she's 18, so what, 40, 45 to like 55, 60?
Yeah, I think anything from 40 and to maybe 55 would be sort of your average, I think, when you're 18.
Yeah. And how old is Roarke?
Roarke.
Do we know?
I don't think we know, but I would assume he's about the same age as Eve.
Yeah.
Maybe a bit older.
Still fits into the suspect profile.
Mm.
You still not convinced?
I don't know. I mean, I would think it would be someone maybe a bit older.
What makes you think that it's going to be someone that's older? Like, older than that?
I think it's the way that Lola describes her nonchalant sort of feelings about calling him dad. The way she described it, she imagined that he would be the right age for a father, made me think that this person is in his late 40s.
Significant, like old, yeah. Okay, so he's an older guy. Okay, fair enough.
So when I was reading from Lola's perspective of what was happening and when the killer came in, I sort of got the idea that he might be in his late 40s. But that's just, it's very subjective, isn't it?
Yeah. Absolutely. So he ends up toying around with her, I think he actually, so he does sleep with her. Yeah, so he basically, he wants to use her mouth, but because of this is the other thing I didn't understand. The birth control that she's on only affects her with intercourse, not oral sex. But you can't get pregnant from oral sex, so why would that matter?
I think what that entails is that the previous chapter that we had when there was no sperm, no killer. So I think what they're trying to say is that if they have oral sex, he will leave evidence, and that if he just have sex with her, then her birth control will deteriorate any evidence.
Yeah.
I think that's...
Yeah, but I mean, he also uses that other method. He uses his own version of birth control. So yeah, they sleep together. Then he makes her get on the bed, turn over, and then he takes out a gun with a silencer.
Yes, because she doesn't have any soundproofing in her building.
And she didn't know what it was. And before she could react, he shoots her in the head. Then I assume he gets up, because he shoots her in the chest and then between the legs again. But if you're going to shoot someone in the chest, if she's already fallen onto the bed, she has to be dead, right? So I would assume he got up.
I have no idea. Honestly, I'm not too much into the logistics.
Because this bugged me, because there's a recording, and like later on we find out there's a recording, but he's not in it from what I remember.
But I assume that he got up and then told her to get on the bed, and then he shot her 3 times while already being off the bed.
Oh, like already standing up kind of thing?
Yeah. And then he just went pow, pow, pow.
Ah, okay, right. I don't know why I imagined him sitting at the end of the bed. Never mind. Well, then he finishes off with saying it was no life for a young girl. So he does see her as a child, but he still slept with her. This man is deranged. That points away from Roarke in my mind.
Yeah, I think so too.
Because he's definitely looking at Eve like, I want to date you.
And the 2 people don't add up.
Yes, so that concludes chapter 4.
Yes, we'll move on to chapter 5. Which, so far, is my favourite chapter.
Why?
Well, I just felt Eve's mood so much in this one.
Yeah.
Just sometimes, you just want a candy bar.
You really do, yeah. Sometimes you just want it. Like, it doesn't matter what you've eaten that day. It doesn't matter on anything else. You're just going to get that candy bar.
I really felt Eve's mood. Sometimes you're having a rough day, you're tired, and all you want is a candy bar. Or, all you want is a coffee. Just something, just that one specific thing that you just really want. And that was this chapter.
It's that one thing that, like, cheers your day up. You can completely relate. Like, you've had a long day at like uni or work, and you just want that one treat that's going to cheer you up.
Just that one thing, and the whole day is going just not your way, and you're thinking, well, there's just this one constant that is always right, that is always there. I'm going to go and get it. Which is what Eve wants to do. She's tired. She wants that quick sugar rush before getting to face Roarke. She needs a lift me up. And to do that, she prefers a little deli run by a very rude, American-hating French man, which I think we all know that rude.
Yeah, we all know that one. From me, I know quite a few.
Exactly, see? This one, his name is Francois.
Oh, Francois.
Yeah, but she calls him Frank just to annoy him. Which I also love the dynamic between the two. She likes to annoy him on purpose.
It seems like a love-hate thing. Like, she obviously gets irritated by this man, but he gives her the candy bar, so
Yeah,
can't hate him too much.
Candy bars. And she does visit him regularly and likes to see what scheme he thought of to try and rob her of her credits, which is in 2058 is money credits.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, money doesn't like exist in the way that we know it.
Yeah, just credit. And as she walks into the deli, all hell just breaks loose.
Yeah, she sees a man standing at the counter and she notices that something's wrong.
Yes, a huge 6'5" man standing in front of the counter. And her instincts, which I thought was just incredible, her instincts immediately kicked in. So she knew something was wrong just by seeing the man and the face expression of Frank looking back at the man. The man turned to her and she saw multiracial heritage eyes of a very desperate man with a homemade explosive.
Yeah. So I think that's the reason she didn't draw her gun, was because she saw the explosive device. And I wonder if it's like, I don't know if it's called like a pressure trigger, or I think it's called a dead man switch. Like when you let go of the explosive, it blows up. If you get what I mean?
Yeah, I get what you mean.
Because else she would have just shot him, right?
Well, she didn't pull her gun because as I understand it, she saw how unstable he was. And she mentioned that people who are this unstable with homemade explosive usually just don't care and they'll blow everyone up. So she tried to sort of play it cool that she has children, or don't,
pull on the heartstrings or whatever's left.
Pull on the heartstrings and everything. And she shot Franco a warning look so that he doesn't give away her job.
Yeah, you don't need him becoming even more desperate.
And even though before she described Frank as, I thought he was a bit, those dumb, rude people.
Yeah.
I got that kind of expression from him, that he was rude and he was, not very bright man.
He was not with it kind of thing, yeah. Okay.
Yes. But it turns out Frank is not an idiot. He didn't give Eve away.
He clearly got the look in her eyes, although he did have an explosive held up to his face, so...
Yeah, but he knew something's gonna work out right now because Eve's there. And the thief, while they're having their eye contact conversation, he notices a security camera and realizes that, no amount of robbed money here will be able to erase his face from the database, basically.
Yeah, you can't pay Google to get rid of your identity. So there's only one thing he was left with.
So he tries to run, Eve being a badass. They get into a fight. She gets hit in the face really badly. They trash the whole place. They're throwing punches. She's trying to trip him. They break the candy bar vending machine. It's all over the place. Explosive then is dropped. Eve catches it like a true hero, all while being, seeing stars, trying to get this man to stop running, handling the explosive. She yells at Frank to hit the alarm and to call for backup.
Yeah. This man is just standing there doing nothing.
Nothing.
He is watching Eve getting pummeled by this guy holding an explosive, and he's just there like a deer in headlights.
She'll be fine. Yeah. She probably has a concussion, but it's all good.
Can you imagine just standing there casually like, it's fine, she'll be fine, it's just her face, it's cool.
Casual.
But then he does sound the alarm, and Eve does notice that cops come in. And she's screaming, book him, he's got an explosive. They bring in a box. That cop couldn't get out of that store fast enough, though. As soon as they saw the explosive, he was like, I gotta go. There's something, like the way my life is set up, I'm not about to die. I'm out.
I'm not about this life. But they did bring a safe box and she disposes of the bomb. And this is where that mood comes in. all she wants is
Was
a
that
candy
candy
bar. You know, that's all she asked for. She didn't even have time to ask for it, but that's all she wanted. She takes one from the floor that was flattened by the whole fight and walks out with Frank yelling at her that she didn't pay for that.
Can you, like, it's just like, fuck off, Frank.
Fuck off, not today. So she does get her candy bar. She also has a massive bruise now on the side of her face.
And she has to go and see Roarke, like, now.
And her day isn't finished yet. She's going into a house of the main suspect to see his gun collection, which I have so many issues, right?
If you're walking into a trap, this is like the first red signal. Like, if your main suspect has guns, and you're going there alone, there's like...
Well, yes, that, but let's paint the whole picture.
Okay.
This man, he's incredibly wealthy, incredibly influential. Our top main security wizard can't penetrate his security system, and she's going there alone to see his massive gun collection. If she gets killed there, I mean, she had it coming, right? No one will be able to prove that probably prove that she went in, but what happened to her afterwards, no one. And Roarke, with the amount of wealth and influence that he has, will probably be able to get away with it, which is terrible, but probably.
I would not feel bad.
So far, this is what we know. And she goes. She
did, yeah.
Yes, so that's another thing about Eve. She's very determined. When she gets a case, she really puts herself beyond any expectation to find the right killer.
Yeah.
And make it just.
Yeah, some part of me thinks that she's just given up. Like, she's so desperate to catch this killer, she doesn't give a crap about her own safety.
Yes, absolutely. She really doesn't care about her health when it comes to her job. Because I think all her life and herself is a job.
Yeah, even if it's at a detriment to herself and her health. Yeah, she, like, police work to her is her life. Because you don't really hear anything else apart from, like, Mavis so far. That she does anything else.
Yeah, so far all we know is that she just works and her life is her job. So Roarke's house is in the middle of the Central Park. So fancy. Fancy house.
4 stories high. It's so fancy. It's life goals.
And what I found interesting that she points out that it's made of real stone.
Yeah. I wonder what the houses are made out of over there. Like in the book.
I don't know, maybe like cement?
I mean, to be fair, like, I don't know, because do you count, like, houses could still be made out of bricks. But I think even now, if some house is made out of, like, stone, I think that's quite...
Yeah, it's true.
It's like a castle.
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't think he lives in a castle, but it is made out of real stone.
Yeah.
He programmed his security entrance gate to allow her to come in.
Which she found very amusing, although probably a little bit annoying.
Yes. Yeah, so this made her feel both amused and uneasy. So this is the first time where she's like, oh, okay. This might be...
This might be a trap.
This might be a bad idea. That his house is very old-fashioned, so there's no holograms or living sculptures, which... How creepy is that, to have a living sculpture in your...
Yeah, no, that's weird.
A living sculpture. Just imagine it, right? So this living sculpture moved. Does it walk around your house?
And at what time? Because, like, if I'm going to get a drink of water at 2 a.m, I don't want to see this thing walking down the hallway.
Exactly. So I'm very surprised that that's a thing.
Yeah. But for someone who's so into tech, not having, like, holograms or anything, it's odd.
He's very old-fashioned.
Yeah.
So he really likes this traditional sort of thing.
Yeah, he likes tobacco.
And he has a butler.
He does. This is where we meet Somerset. And Somerset, you don't know much about Somerset from this initial, like, meet. He seems like he's always near Roarke, even if you can't see him. That's the impression I got. But then we hear more about him later on.
He's like a shadow.
Yeah, I mean, even at the end of their meeting here, they say, like, he's in the shadows somewhere.
Yeah, even Roarke points out that he knows that Somerset will appear from the shadows to escort Eve back to her car. Which is terrifying. And kind of cool to have a butler like that. But terrifying to meet a butler like that.
Yeah, exactly. It's cool to have a butler like that. It is not cool to meet one. That is fucking creepy. I don't want I don't ever want to meet someone like that.
So Summer said, I imagine him being very skinny, dry, sturdy man with very high expectations of guests that come through the house. So he's very... The way he looks at Eve was like the receptionist at Paradise looked at Eve.
Yeah, he sees her as something like the cat dragged in. But like, what the cat dragged in, the thing that came out of that is what... He's very much... He reminds me of like Alfred from Batman, but then on the same status as someone who is super posh.
Well, I don't know. Alfred was very nice.
Yeah, but like the kind of whole like the poshness, because she said he sounded British.
Yes, the poshness is there.
But yeah, he definitely looks down on her like she's trash. Oh well.
Definitely. And when and when Roarke asked him to bring them very old expensive wine, Somerset literally looks horrified that he would
waste it on her
for a scruffy policewoman on a job.
Yeah, so initial thoughts is Somerset does not like, but he thinks that she's there just to investigate him, so he probably already doesn't like her for that reason.
Yeah.
Like, you're investigating my boss.
Yeah, he's on the fence. Definitely. As soon as Somerset leaves, things get touchy.
They do.
Roarke caresses her cheek because he doesn't like the bruise on it.
Yeah, he seemed very angry that someone hit her.
Yes, and Eve being very... I think it's charming. She doesn't let that, she doesn't go sappy or anything. She just says that someone went in between a candy bar and her, and she won.
Yeah, she said, don't get in between me and food, and he said, noted for the future.
Noted. Which is also a mood.
Yeah. Don't come between us and food. Or us and coffee, even.
Which is what I'm telling you. Chapter 5 is just my favourite one.
Chapter 5 reveals a lot, to be fair.
But Eve in this chapter is truly just the best mood ever. Then they have a pleasant dinner. So he arranged the dinner and they eat real steak.
They do. And she was... Yeah, the whole real food comes up quite often. Like, what is she eating normally? Does she eat, like, just toast? We don't know what she eats. I don't know what she eats.
No, she eats food, but we do know that it's not real.
So then what was the Chinese?
So I think the food has taste, but it's not the best taste. So the way I imagine it, there is real steak and then there is, vegan steak, like soy steak.
Yeah. Oh, so you imagine, like, the fake food or the synthetic food is, like, soy.
Well, sort of. So the closest to what I can imagine is that. Yeah, I don't know quite what the food situation is like, because is it synthetic food with some kind of flavoring, but it has all the same nutrients? Or does it even not have the same nutrients?
That's what I wanted to know. Like, are they getting nutrition, or is it... Because it could be that people who earn under a certain salary, they have to eat. It might not be the best thing for them, but at least it's sustaining their life somewhat. And if you have certain wealth, then you can have nutritional food. But at the moment, it sounds like only Roarke is able to afford this.
Yeah, and Paradise.
But I think he owns Paradise, no?
Does he?
I think so.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. He owns pretty much everything.
So then they eat dinner.
They do. Eve tries to tell Roarke that this is not a social call, and Roarke ignores her.
Yeah, he ignores her flat out. Doesn't want to be touched, ignores her. Doesn't want to eat, ignores her. Drink, ignores her.
Which I don't quite like that about him, but I think this is where...
I think it's charming. I think because she's obviously tired. She hasn't eaten.
Yeah, you know what? I think in this particular situation, it's what's best for the both of them.
Definitely. But he did plan it before he knew that she was in a fight for a candy bar.
Yeah. So she didn't know that she was in a fight, but he just enjoys watching her eat, and she enjoys eating.
Mood.
Yeah, exactly. He also wonders when he can eat her.
Yeah, and that was like a kind of a shock straight out. Like, he does not take this investigation very seriously. He is solely entertaining her to try and get her into bed.
Yeah, which is both concerning, but also perhaps is a hint that he is not the killer because he's so relaxed about it.
So I thought that too, but I think like the way that he...
Or he wants to get her into bed to kill her.
Yeah, or it's a distraction from like what he's done. Like, he might not kill her, but if he can get her to like him, she'll be less likely to prosecute him, kind of thing.
That is a good point.
But then they do end up making out, and he just grabs her.
No, wait, not yet.
Where are you? What's next?
Yeah, so while they're having dinner, so after the thought that he wants to eat her. They continue having dinner. This is where this sort of dynamic starts happening, where Roarke is a very smart man, so he suggests different scenarios of how and why he would have killed the woman if he was the killer. Which, here is the thing, if I had a question here. Does this make him super smart or super stupid?
I think both. Although I don't know, because if he is super smart, then he knows that he's basically incriminating himself. Not incriminating because he did something wrong, but in the sense that he would know how to do it.
Yes, or he's this sure of his master plan that there's no way that he could be caught. And then he also defends himself by saying that he sees a problem with the idea of him being the killer because he doesn't like brutalizing women in any form.
That was a big question I had as well.
And points to Eve's bruised face again.
But then he said it was quite old-fashioned, so do people in their day and age not really mind brutalizing each other? Like, it seems quite odd that he pointed it out.
Oh yeah, well, that's the thing. Sharon, do you remember when Eve went to see Charles, the neighbour, the elevator handsy man?
Yes, the elevator handsy man, as we named him.
He pointed out that Sharon didn't mind violence. So I think in some way that sort of seeps into people's lives.
Okay.
I don't know. They flirt in a... which I found very tasteful and witty. So if you are not reading the books, I would highly suggest the conversation there is top notch.
It's very well written. It is, yeah.
Oh, I made a note and I had to point to you for 1 second. It's a very long note, but at this point I found it a bit of a shame that we can't quite... The writer doesn't explore the inner turmoil within the two, because it seems like it's such a natural transition from them. Mind you, these people know each other for 2 days.
Yeah.
And they already have this very natural...
I think it's quite lustful. Like, it did flow very nicely, but then...
But it's so quick that it just doesn't seem quite real. Especially with the way that Eve acts and the way that Roarke acts. The writer doesn't quite write about the inner turmoil of why they're feeling that way. There is a few hints, but usually it's Roarke saying, I don't know why I feel about this, but she's amazing.
Yeah.
And Eve just sort of goes along with it.
Yeah, there's no indication that she felt the same way, I think. She knows that he's attractive and she's like acknowledged that, but she never thought like, oh, he's beautiful, I want to, lap him up.
Yeah, or like, oh, I like him, or he seems like a wonderful human being. I don't know, anything really.
Yeah.
It's very neutral.
So it flowed nicely, but it didn't from the perspective of like Eve.
They also have a point, she made a point that he owns her apartment complex.
And he just said, yeah, I expected you to know that.
Yes, and then she... I like that how she just hits him with a maintenance problem. That her shower doesn't
yeah,
work
that
or
was
something.
Like mid-flirt, like, you need to sort this out.
Sort out my hot water problem, please.
Because I can't have it for more than 10 minutes. Like, hold on, how long are you showering for?
How long do you shower for? 10 minutes is nothing.
I suppose I'm not a woman though. I don't have like long hair. Oh, I do now. Thanks, quarantine.
Then they go to check out the gun collection, which is what she's been there for the whole time. And it turns out that it's a weapon museum.
Yeah, I don't think she expected the scale, and to be fair, nor did I. Like, this man doesn't just have like a couple of guns or one or two things. He has a whole room of weapons. Not guns. He's got a mace, which was, I think it was described as a ball with spikes sticking out of it, dangling from a...
Yeah, it's like a stick.
Yeah, like a stick. He's got armor from...
Medieval times,
that's it. And then he's got a whole, like, wall of guns.
Education coming through.
History lessons, remembering. Yeah, so he's got a whole room of weapons, and she thought he must have, like, 2 or 3 guns. No.
So Eve doesn't get it. Doesn't get the whole attraction to this kind of weaponry. Roarke has been collecting them for 16 years, starting with the one that was pointed at his head.
And he didn't mean to tell her that, but he did. So that's how one of his businesses was born. He was, I think, transporting cargo that was not meant to be transported, obviously. And the person didn't want to pay the fee. Thought they could kill Roarke, who I think was only a kid at the time by the way it sounded, like it was written. It didn't sound like he was grown.
Yeah, I think he was in his very early 20s.
Yeah.
I would imagine him being maybe 19, 20.
Like early adult kind of thing. But then he said at the end of that at the end of that situation where the guy was pointing a gun at his head, Roarke left with the fee that was due to be paid. He left with the cargo and with the gun. So did he kill him?
Well, no, I don't think so, but he did mention that the person who was pointing the gun at his head was too busy being worried about Roarke's foot in his junk.
So he just incapacitated him.
Yes, so I think... yeah.
I mean, that's a very old-fashioned way of getting someone off you, but hey, it's effective, so...
I mean, Ireland, right?
Okay, so he didn't kill him.
Yeah, I don't think they got to the killing quite there yet, but I think something happened. Eve then takes the gun to be analysed.
And some ammunition. So he doesn't just have the guns, he has the bullets as well. This man is not helping himself. Or he's very sure he did not. Yeah.
But I think the point that she makes there is that no one knows that the killer has left the gun at the scene. So Roarke giving her the gun that was used at the crime...
seems a bit suspicious. Like, how did he know?
Well, no, the other way round. So he has the gun in his collection that was left at the murder scene that they've collected. So would that then mean he didn't do it because he still has his gun and he doesn't know that the killer leaves the gun at the scene of crime?
Oh, you raise a good point. Yeah, because if they've already taken the gun, then why the hell do they want his? But also, when he pointed to the gun, he pointed to a different gun. And Eve reached out for the wrong one. So she reached out for the one that she knew was the weapon of choice. But that's not the one that he said.
Oh, but I thought Eve just didn't know which one to take and she misunderstood which...
No. He was watching her as it happened. I think he knew that it was the wrong gun.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah. But then again, like, as you said, they've got the weapon, so...
Oh, I thought Eve was just ignorant about guns, so they had that weird moment where he pointed at the right gun. And she misunderstood him and went to the wrong one because she doesn't know anything about guns.
And then she went to go to the wrong one.
This is interesting. Oh, I don't know which one it is.
I see that we've got two different views on this one.
Listeners, vote which one is right.
Comments, whatever, anywhere, just let us know which one you think.
Yes, you can follow us on Instagram and Twitter at SeriesPod. This is gonna be fun.
Yeah, we'll upload a picture and ask the question, which one do you think?
I think they just had an awkward moment because Eve doesn't know anything about guns.
And I think Roarke knew exactly what he was doing. I think he purposely said a gun and she grabbed the other one.
So things get very steamy very quickly because he just full on kisses her very passionately.
Out of nowhere.
Yeah, she's enjoying it.
Yeah, and she just takes it. Like, listen, lady, you're meant to be there for a job. Don't be falling for your number one suspect.
Well, she does stop because, you know, she remembers that she's a cop and that he is a suspect.
For murder, not anything, it's for murder.
Which I think she keeps forgetting for some unknown reason.
Forgetting.
Which annoys me so much.
He got very handsy though.
Yeah, and he also loses his cool. And I think they're both shocked by that. Him as well. That I think this is the first time he realizes how much he wants her, that even he lost his cool, because I don't think that's very usual for him.
No, he seems like a very cool, composed. He'd make like a great poker player.
Mm-hmm.
But then for some reason around her, maybe it's because she's attractive to him or because he doesn't want her investigating him anymore.
Oh yes, perhaps. I'm still, I don't know. I'm not gonna give anything away.
I know you're undecided. I'm like, nah, he's definitely the killer.
Then after she stops and he has this outbreak, she gets a call on her communicator saying that there was another death, which is Lola Starr that we talked about previously. She leaves Roarke with
Blue balls.
Blue balls and a button of a grey suit in his pocket.
Yeah, he was playing with something in his pocket the whole time, and it's a bloody button.
It's the button that she lost.
To me, you always hear that serial killers keep tokens. This is why I'm like, he has to be the guy. Because he's got a gun collection, he's got ammo, she's investigating him, so that's motive, and he keeps a token. Like, no. I think she's number 3.
Oh, but then he would keep the token. Wouldn't we hear about tokens of the previous 2 women?
I wonder if it's something that's later uncovered. Maybe. I mean, you never know. I guess we'll read and find out.
Maybe, yeah. So it's just Roarke and a button and a weapon museum in his house. And that's how we leave chapter 5.
It was a good chapter. It was a good, it showed us a whole world.
I love chapter 5. Eve, who is just the mood, with a candy bar, a boss lady. We get some action with Roarke. We get more information on the guns and his past life, of how he became this rich.
Only a glimpse, not too much.
Yes, I think it was a very... Well, not too much, yes, but I think it was a very good chapter. I like chapter 5.
Chapter 5 was good, I will agree with you there.
We begin chapter 6 with Eve getting to the scene of the crime where Lola Star is dead. She is understandably upset while seeing the body of a kid, and she also notices that a teddy bear near the body is holding a gun, and she gets really upset by that.
It just reaffirms that the kid, she was a kid, basically. Yeah, I think the whole of chapter 6 was pretty much just going through the details that we read in chapter 4, from the perspective. But then she met the other officer. She spoke about the teddy bear holding the gun.
Yeah, we just get through sort of the rundown of the scene that we had a glimpse into. So they just collect all the evidence. She gets upset that it's a very young girl being killed, and there's also a note
that says 2 of 6, which is 1 a week. So there's definitely going to be another murder next week.
Then we fast forward to Eve in her office. It's now 7 a.m. She's exhausted, she's pale, she's tired, she's very jittery on the bad caffeine that they have at their police station. She spent the whole night searching through databases to find any link between Sharon DeBlas and Lola Star, and she found nothing.
Yeah, it's also, it seems sort of random.
Yeah, so absolutely random. The 2 women have nothing in common. After Finney also tells her about what gun was used, and she goes back to Roarke because that's the only person she knows so far who has a very extensive gun collection. This time she goes to his office, not his house, his office. And this is the first time we see Eve being self-conscious about the way she looks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because she noticed I think the assistant or something was really well dressed.
Yes, the PA was very well put together. She even mentioned that maybe it was time to get a haircut done by a professional rather than cutting it herself.
Hacking at it herself, yeah. That really put images in my head. Just some shears.
I just imagine in a few weeks you're gonna be doing that to yourself.
Never. I could never cut my own hair. My cousin tried to cut her own hair once, and that was horrific enough that I will not be doing that. So she goes up a secret elevator to Rourke's office, which is at the top floor, and she notes that he would accept nothing less than the top, to be at the top of everything. And his office was not what I expected. It had a bath in it.
It had a bath in it?
Yeah. Let me see if I can find the exact page. Where is the bath? I know I read bath somewhere.
I don't think his office has a bath.
Let me find it. Yeah, so here it is. It's as big as a heliport, yep. It's got an automated bar, an oversized wall screen, so I assume one wall is quite literally just a screen. There is a whirl tub and a drying pool. Yeah, so he quite literally has a full bath in his office. But there's no walls separating it.
Oh, wow. Okay, fair enough. I mean, if he works
But there's no walls. What if his assistant just walks in, like, hi, yeah, I'm just in the bath, it's cool.
Well, he probably closes the door.
What door? Because she goes on to say, how do you work with all this space?
To his office. Oh, but I thought the space was that it was a very spacious place and then all the windows are like are floor to ceiling.
Okay, maybe. So you think there is a separation. Anyway, it's not super important. It was just quirky,
No, but that's weird. Can you imagine going into an office and seeing a bath there while you're having a meeting? She questions Roarke about his alibi and gets upset when he doesn't have a solid enough one. So this was the first time we sort of get the inner feelings that Eve has for Roarke, because she really feeds him sort of what she wants him to answer, so that she knows that he has a solid alibi, and
she wants him to be innocent.
And she gets upset when there isn't one. She also questions if he knows Lola by showing him a picture of her. He denies, yes, and gets very frustrated by the fact that he can see how exhausted Eve is, and yet Eve is being very professional and wouldn't sit down.
Yeah. She's being... Well, I don't know if she's being professional. I think she's being defiant after her little slip-up where she made out with the number one suspect.
She has reeled herself in.
Yeah, completely.
Really focused. So that she wouldn't show any unprofessionalism at all. She's in a cop mood. So he pushes her into a chair because he's that frustrated that she wouldn't sit down. That spills out all the less flattering pictures of Lola, so from the crime scene, and he picks them up and looks at them, and he's absolutely appalled by what he's being accused of.
Yeah. He doesn't retro anything, he's just like disgusted that someone could do this.
Yeah, and he questions Eve if she thinks that he's really capable of doing that.
And she says no, but it's not up to my opinion. And he questions her again, like, do you think I could do this? And she says no.
Yeah, so she doesn't think so. This is also a hint to me that Roarke might not be the killer, but someone is trying to set him up.
Yeah, but then I don't know why she keeps going back to them for the guns, you know? Like, I could see how someone would set him up, but then they'd have to take his gun. If his gun was missing, sure.
But maybe that's why she keeps going back to him to see if one of the guns is missing or not.
Maybe, yeah.
Because I just think she doesn't have any other strings to pull, so she just goes to what she already has and tries to see where that leads her.
Yeah, I suppose if you tug on one string, it might lead to another kind of thing.
He also says that he knows she missed her testing, which...
He knows too much.
Yeah.
He has too many connections to everything.
Yes, and she gets mad and she tells him,
Basically, fuck off, leave me alone.
With him and his connections of how he knows that she missed her testing. But he went and pulled strings to get that information.
I don't know if that's flattering or... This bit pointed out something. So if we remember now that he knows she didn't have testing done. Because later on, the testing comes up again, and I'm curious whether this has something to do with it. So yeah, he knows. He knows she didn't get tested.
He doesn't know about what happened in the previous case. No one knows yet. Well, no, the station knows, but I don't think they've given out that information. Then he offers help with the case, and Eve gets very suspicious but very intrigued, because on one hand she understands that this is a very smart man who can get quite a bit of information, but on the other hand he is still the main suspect, and also she can't use civilians and information that she got sort of unofficially in her investigation.
But she still says, like, you can get the information as long as I can tug on it, so I can I can build a case.
Exactly. And once again, he's left alone, fingering the button.
Such a creep. With a button fetish.
And that's how chapter 6 finishes. So the end of our second episode.
Woo! Hope you guys enjoyed it. It's so good.
We hope you enjoyed this episode. This episode is available at SeriesPod on YouTube, SoundCloud, iTunes Podcast, Spotify, and Google Podcast. And for those of you who like the crème de la crème of audio platforms rather than mainstream ones. We also are available on Podcast Addict and our website, link to which you can find on our Instagram. Speaking of Instagram, for updates and fun content, you can follow us there. And if you have a personal favorite audio platform and we're not on it, do tell us and I will do my best to get our podcast there. And before we go, a very special thank you to our Patreons for supporting us. If you want to support us too, you can go to patreon.com/SeriesPod, and in return we post the podcast there early, as well as include some fun outtakes.
Thank you for joining us.
Bye!